It's Vincent Sora out of turn 4, getting the checkered flag, winning, locking himself into the playoffs. Steve Rick coming out of turn number 4. Mark Whitley coming into turn number 3. He's down low. He's made the space. It's going to be the 77. Mark Whitley winning here at Eldora.
They're beating Vega for the lead. Sora's still with the shot here, coming off a 4. Look at it. It's it.
Go, Sora. Sora got it. By unknown. Sora. Go, Mark Whitley.
As they're looking for third. Board sliding, he saves it. What a save as we're coming to the white flag.
Oh no! Mark Whitley got one! But for the lead, Vincent Sora has made the pass. He's got by Mark Whitley. Will Whitley be able to make the pressure and maybe even bump the 15 to get him out of the way?
It's coming right here.
Oh, there it goes! He sent him, put him in the outside wall. Vincent Sora, get out of here. Mark Whitley wants a win. Vincent Sora, will he full send it to take down Mark Whitley? And it looks like the 15, he tried to get there, overshot. Top board's gonna fend off, but it's gonna be Mark Whitley getting the win.
Same dude, same stuff. Race him clean, set him up, 20 laps. I set him up, passed him, and he just drives through me because he can't drive.
All that matters is we got the W, and he's over there crying over spilled milk when I got probably more tore up race cars than he does right now, so, you know, that's how it goes.
It's Bristol, baby. Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're here tonight with the NAISCC Truck Series, brought to you by Race Car Graveyard, and we're here for the Bristol Thunder 150, presented to you by Larry's Art Productions. Larry's Art Production is a comedian variety YouTube channel with content ranging from stop motion videos, vlogs, live streams, and more. With all the insanity Larry produces and his personal love for the Bristol Motor Speedway, it only makes sense for Larry Art Productions to be the sponsor here for the opening playoff race for the Bristol Thunder 150, again presented to you by Larry's Art Productions. It's going to be a fantastic night of racing here at the Bristol Motor Speedways, as always, with our playoff action kicking off here with our 16 playoff contenders. I am Zach Hall up in the booth. Joined alongside me here tonight is Brian Johnson, our pit reporter, but he's going to be up here in the booth alongside me here tonight calling all the action. Brian, playoff action. We're here at Bristol, one of the tracks that, you know, it can stir up a lot of action and a lot of controversies. It's going to be a tough one, though, I think, for these drivers to tame it.
Oh yeah, most definitely, Zach. Good evening, everybody. But you know, a lot of people say that Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. I think playoff time is the most wonderful time of the year. It's the time of the season where every lap matters, every position matters, every choice you make matters. And what a better place to start all of that off than here at Bristol.
You're very right, sir. It's going to be a glorious time for us up here in the booth. I cannot wait to get this action all in tonight here for our 150 laps here at the world's fastest half mile. And man, it's really going to live up to his name, I think, here tonight with the multi-groove racing we can see. I know you got a little bit of time here, you know, driving the car, Brian, and really got to work in this track. You know, how is it you think you're going to play out here tonight with these race cars?
Well, you know, I've heard some, I guess, some mixed reviews on Bristol. Some people think that the low line is going to be the line that everybody's going to be running, and other people think it's going to be the high line. So I think we're definitely going to see a multi-grooved race tonight, and I think that could possibly change as the night goes on, as the rubber lays down. I don't think the track temperature should change, but that rubber is definitely going to make the track change as the race goes on. Going to have to make guys think about where they're going to be running, trying to find that grip. But tonight, just like most every other Monday night, is going to be tire management, making sure that you don't overheat that tire in the center. And you know, Bristol is a track different from any other track we go to, and it's just you know, it's definitely a learning curve for a lot of drivers.
A learning curve it might be. Well, I guess what? Who's the perfect person to teach us to get around the Bristol Motor Speedway? It's our own Brian Johnson. You heard from here now. Let's hear from him here in our segment Taming the Turns with Brian Johnson.
Bristol, What is there to say about Bristol? You either love it or you hate it. This high banked short track, the fastest half miles track in the world, is unlike any other track we visit. Some people compare it to Dover, and while it is similar in shape, because it is half the size of Dover, driving it is completely different. There's never a chance to catch your breath. You always have to mentally be 2 steps ahead, and you always have to be on your toes because anything can happen at any second. As usual with any short track, it's tough to pass and it's hard to stay patient. Tire management is extremely important because the moment that you overheat the right front, the rest of the run is going to be very painful to get through. Fortunately, with the banking, we do have a few extra options that we can take advantage of, but those extra options must be used sparingly because the tires just can't take the abuse that they endure while running those different lines. So, let's get to it. So a bit of a disclaimer before we get into this too much. Bristol definitely is one of my worst tracks, so I'll do the best I can with trying to explain how to go about driving this track, but I'm definitely not the expert on it. So when you want to run the bottom, you're going to give just a little bit of brake going on entry. We have so much banking and the trucks are just, they don't have a whole lot of power, so we don't have to slow down the truck too much, and it's just about letting it roll and getting back to the gas at the right time. Don't want to put too much pressure on that right front. And so now I've run some high line laps here, and it definitely is the more fun line to run. But this is the line I was talking about earlier that's going to abuse those tires. They don't like running up here. While it is faster, it just the tires don't like it. So, and you can see up here, we're actually not even having to use brake on entry, and it's just about timing that throttle right, getting back into it, not too early. And there's a few bumps on the entry to 1 that you're going to want to be careful going over when you're running up here, into 3 as well. So, just those bumps on entry up top, got to be careful going over those. And you can see we're actually hitting the chip going in on entry, so that's how much speed that you're able to carry out of the corner going up top. But again, just not a line that you want to run late in the run or all the time. Awareness, patience, and consistency is going to be key tonight in order for you to end up right here in Victory Lane.
Thank you to Brian Johnson for that great segment there called Tame the Turns here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that can help you tame the turns around here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, that's Track Racer. Track Racer has the cutting edge design and the engineering to give you that competitive edge, offering racing rigs, flight simulators, accessories, monitor stands, and now offering wheels from SimCube. Track Racer has everything you need to begin and complete your rig today. Follow the NAISCC Facebook page, and you can PM them to get a discount code there. So Track Racer Refined Gaming, make sure you go ahead and check them out as they're a proud sponsor here at the NAISCC Truck Series. Again, thank you to the Track Racer. But man, Brian, we've got to see your video there, explaining how to get around here. It's one thing to get around this place, but with competition out there, how much does it change?
I mean, it definitely changes a lot when you're in the pack at Bristol. Even by yourself, you constantly have to think 2 steps ahead. You can't, for lack of a better term, have a brain fart. You just can't afford that. And then especially when you have a car to your outside, a car behind you, in front of you, behind you, on top of you, wherever. Um, y- you have to be mistake free. The tiniest mistake, the tiniest inconsistency, the tiniest little whatever could potentially throw off your whole race.
Yeah, definitely going to see where those scenarios play out tonight. Which driver's going to be facing those type of situations. We just seen it click over. We're now heading into our qualifying session here. 5 minutes for these drivers to put down 2 laps to see who's going to sit atop that pole position and where you start out tonight's 150 lap event. We looked at practice there. It was Mark Whitley in the 77 machine here on top of the board. Vincent Sorn, the 15, right directly behind him. We had a somewhat of a rivalry we've seen brew throughout the season. We talked and heard from multiple of them talking about how it's not going to carry over. It probably wouldn't carry into the playoffs. Brian, as a driver, do you think some of that animosity can carry over? There's actually a little bit more rumblings throughout the garage. I think there's a few other guys out there that are playoff guys that are frustrated with each other.
Oh yeah, after last week we have another rivalry brewing, but when it comes to Vincent Sora and Mark Whitley, I think it's one of those deals now where they both would rather not have to deal with each other in that way, but they aren't going to forget it, and they're going to race each other like they haven't forgot it. So I would not expect any extra room between those two, but I wouldn't expect anything, intentional or out of malice between the two. But after last week, we had the double zero of Ethan Smith and the 0-1 of Aaron Craig. There was an incident between them, and they both disagreed very strongly against one another about what had happened. And from what I hear amongst the garage is that they haven't got over it, either one of them. So I think tonight at this track, we could possibly see another rivalry kind of blossoming.
Ooh, that's definitely spicy, and we'll have to see how that all shakes out throughout the night here. But right now, on top the board, it's Vincent Sawyer and Mark Willie. We talked about the rivalry brewing, or that brewed throughout the season that really came to a conclusion. We think maybe possibly, well, they're going to start out front and see if they can renew that there. But we talked about playoffs. Let's talk about how the playoffs are affected here. Vincent Sawyer comes in here tonight as your points leader here, 11 points back to Mark Whitley, our second place man in the playoff standings. Third is going to be Danny Cochran's roll back from the lead. Fourth is going to go to Brandon Colley, 14 points back. Fifth is going to be Ethan Smith. I think kind of, maybe a driver there, he's won this season, so he's not, couldn't say an underdog, but he's definitely one I think we need to watch for there in that fifth position, 25 points back. Then you got to look at John Forbes, hasn't won this season, but it's been all around that top position. Then James Loveland in seventh. Eighth's going to go to Sean Huffstetter. Ninth's going to be Max Foner. 10th's going to go to Trevor Earhart. 11th's Tyler Dingler. And actually tied for 11th all the way down to the last position is Aaron Kralik, Chris Norris, Cody Reed, Gregory Shaw, and Thomas Walter. So 16 tough drivers here looking to become, go on to that next round. It's going to be a tough round, though, here, Brian, with these tracks we have.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any playoffs, no matter what the schedule is, it's tough. There's a lot of pressure on all the drivers because, like I said earlier, every lap, every decision you make, it matters. That 1 point could be the difference between you not making the next round or going into the championship round. But looking at these standings, the top four obviously I think are maybe the favorites to make it to the final four. But there's a couple of, like you said, not necessarily underdogs, but guys that I'd be still willing to bet on. You got guys like Ethan Smith, John Forbes, and even Aaron Kralik down there in tied for 11th. He's steadily improved in the past couple weeks, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe higher up in the standings after tonight if he can stay out of trouble. But it's the playoffs; anything can happen. I wouldn't be surprised if after this Bristol race that everything gets shuffled and names at the top or end up at the bottom, and some one name on there ends up upside down. So it's Bristol playoffs. It's going to be great.
It definitely will be great to see here. So they got about 30 seconds left in this qualifying session. Still, Vincent Sora atop the board, followed by Mark Whitley, Ethan Smith, Sean Huffstetter, and Cody Reed. So playoff drivers consuming up those top 5 spots right now. And man, it's going to be fun to see the action all night here, just really progress. And, we got that stage at lap 70. So we'll see, how that works out, what cautions come in between that possibly to shake out and change the strategy here tonight a little bit. But, 4 sets of tires in pit road. It's going to be a very, very wild night, nonetheless, to say is now qualifying has come officially to a end here. And we're going to be looking to bring your hot laps design starting grid here as we'll get ready to pull that up and show where your favorite drivers are starting out tonight's 150 laps here, brought to you by Larry's Productions. It's the Bristol Thunder 150 as we have now our starting lineup as Vincent Sora going to start from that pole position. Great job by him to start out front, leading us into the playoffs here as the championship leader. Second's going to go to Mark Whitley. Third is going to go back to Ethan Smith. Fourth place is going to be Sean Huffstetter. Fifth is going to be Cody Reed. Sixth is going to be Jonathan Smith. Seventh is going to go to Thomas Walter. Eighth is going to be Cody Dorsey. Ninth is going to go to John Forbes there. 10th is going to go to Aaron Kralik. 11th is going to go to Gregory Shaw. 12th is John McAdams. 13th is Dakota Maniz. 14th is going to go to Max Foner in the 51 machine. 15th is James leveling another playoff contender there. 16th, Danny Cochran, Brandon Colley back here in 17th. Also, some tough qualifying spots for those playoff drivers. 18th, Tyler Dingler, another playoff driver. 19th is going to go to Jesse Thornick. 20th is going to be Ryan Ferraro. 21st, Joshua Freed. 22nd, Martin Morales Jr. And rounding out our 23 truck field here tonight at Bristol is Christopher Norris. And tell you what, Bristol may have scared a few competitors off this week. Brian is definitely a little bit lower number count than we're used to here, but hey, it's the playoffs. It's kind of normal for these things to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But for Bristol, I mean, 23 guys, that's still a good number, and I think that's honestly gonna this lower count might be a little bit better for these playoff drivers to really get to race and really kind of get the finish that they deserve. And just on a side note, I don't think we've mentioned it yet, but as you're watching tonight and you're watching these trucks go around the track, and you wonder, well, who's in the playoffs, who's not? Well, the playoff drivers do have that yellow banner on top of the front windshield there. They have the yellow roll bars on the off the back window and the yellow spoilers as well. So if you're watching tonight, wondering who's in the playoffs, just look for the yellow.
Definitely some great looking schemes out there for sure with those yellow banners, and some great schemes without it also. So gonna get to watch those do battle around the world's fastest half mile here in Bristol, Tennessee. Mark Withey there continuing the Christmas spirit with his 77 machine. He's been a threat, especially on the short tracks. We've seen him be very, very good. Same with Vince Sora. That's why I think these two up front is going to be a common theme we see throughout the night. But who's going to play the spoiler between these top two is going to be the question for sure. We have a lot of guys starting out back two that are top contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. We got guys like Brandon Colley in the one. He's starting back in 17th, but I would anticipate seeing him move up through the field. Danny Cochran just in front of him in 16th. Those guys are going to be looking to get through the field. Jonathan Smith, he's in the 32. I wouldn't count him out tonight. He might see a good finish. That guy's usually pretty good at short tracks. He's starting 6th, so yeah, even starting out here, kind of the standings turned upside down.
That they are. Here's we're coming down the back straightaway. We're getting ready for the Bristol Thunder 150, brought to you by Larry Arts Productions. It's going to be a special one here tonight for 150 laps. Pace car takes the hard left turn down the pit road. Vincent Sora going to lead us to the green flag. Green flag is out and away. We're heading down the one side by side for the lead. It's going to be the bottom lane. They're fighting for Whitley on the top side. It's going to be a battle off of two. That top side powering off down the straightaway.
Yeah, the high side right now with fresh tires gonna have the little bit of edge as you see Mark Whitley here. Vincent Sora gonna lead that first lap there. Guys in 3rd, 4th, and 5th still battling it out though.
Definitely a great battle back here as Whitley has now controlled that lead. Oh, as we got a driver in the front or the back straightaway wall. That is James Loveland in the 56 machine. Tough deal for him, a playoff driver there involved in this. And also looks like Martin Morales Jr., Christopher Norris, multiple cars dinged up here in this first caution of the night. So we'll go back here on the instant replay. We'll see exactly how this all played out. We're looking here at the 30 at Christopher Norris. Here he's going to be coming off of turn number 2 here and see what transpires up ahead of him. As actually this is us coming to the green here, I believe. So it'll be brightest here after the first lap. We'll see what happens here as Norris started from shotgun on the field, and he is going to look to be involved in this incident here. And that's a tough thing for a playoff contender, multiple playoff contenders there involved in that. I mean, Morales, Loveland, Norris, so just multiple trucks that don't need to get damaged necessarily to get damaged. You see Norris here making the aggressive move on Morales. I think it happens up ahead of him here. We'll see as he comes into one here, I believe off of turn 2. Oh no, he loses the rear end and sticks it in the wall right in front of Morales, and that is actually the cause there is, wow, Norris heavy damage, engine blown. He's having to use the fast repair.
There's actually a smaller incident up ahead of him. The 51, a phoner got into the back of John McAdams, and he went for a bit of a slide, and as he was catching it, he actually got into the right side of Brandon Colley. So a little bit of damage to the one truck and a couple others.
As we're under caution here, first one of the night. Wow, wild stuff here as multiple trucks involved in incidents. Yeah, it definitely, Brian, it definitely looked like the 47 McAdams and Collie McLeod. And also I believe Loveland, he was down there from some other incident too, but it looks like the one of Brandon Colley's not too much damage on that truck as the rest of the field here trying to stay out here and preserve their tires.
Yeah, I mean that's that first green flag run there, it was about let's see here, maybe about 2 or 3 laps, a couple laps there. So not a whole lot of time, but enough time to at least for Vincent Sora to get a redo on this restart. Now he's got that outside lane here, and maybe he'll be able to take that lead back from Mark Whitley.
Yeah, this outside lane I think is going to be a little bit better, but this time Whitley going to have a little bit more control of the restart zone, so that'll be interesting to see here as the pace truck lights are off. We're getting ready to go back green flag races. The truck is in this time. Mark Whitley waiting to get to the zone. He's off and away. Great start from him. He clears the 15, and that's what he was hoping from the bottom lane there. And that just came down to the restart zone there as Sora's going to follow in second. But the battle behind here, Cody Reed, Ethan Smith, these two playoff contenders battling hard with Sean Hustler and Jonathan Smith also side by side.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments for the 00 where, every position matters. So, later in the race, he might be kicking himself a little bit for not being able to hold that 3rd place position. But it is tough to do that down on the bottom. And then back here for 5th place, we got the 32 of Jonathan Smith trying to look to the outside of Sean Hustler. Couldn't do it quite right there, but still right on the back bumper, waiting to pounce.
Ooh, some drivers having some incidents here. Slow. It's like Ryan Ferraro on the 12 machine, slow on the back stretch here, getting back up to speed as he got checked up by something. But man, some crazy battling going back here with John Forbes in the 11 machine, the 2 of Danny Cochran, the 1 of Brandon Colley. Some strong playoff contenders right in this zone, all battling along with Cody Dorsey. As it looks like the 11 there had a little bit of connection issues as he tries to gather it up. As man, Cochran was able to get through it now. Brandon Colley, they're both trying to march their way through as they qualified way farther back than they would expect it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things at Bristol is track position is important, but it's not absolutely necessary like some tracks that we go to. You can make up some positions earlier in the run. I think later in the run you might see some guys really struggle to be able to pass. So right now, if you're trying to get through the field, right now is the time to do it.
Right on board, Brandon Colley. He had a scary moment there with John Forbes behind him, getting really close to the rear and trying to clear him as they're trying to get by Cody Dorsey up ahead. And this is tough, this track here can be a tough track to pass on, and if you got to really use your truck up to get those passes done, it can hurt the tires. And you've seen some of these guys who had back qualifying spots having to really work their stuff in, and we've heard the bottom lane's going to be better, but I still tell you what, that outside lane, very much easier the lane to defend for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get such a huge run coming out of the corner up top. In Tame the Turns earlier, towards the end of the straightaways, you're actually hitting a jet on entry. So a big speed difference from top to bottom. And right now, just looking through the field, you got some guys on the bottom, some guys up top, and some guys in the couple lanes in the middle. So definitely multi-group racing tonight so far. I think as the race goes on, we might see some guys start to refine their lines, and we may only see maybe 1 or 2 lanes being used. But right now, everybody's all over the place.
Tell you what, who's a real big mover? That's the 2 of Danny Cochran, because he goes around Gregory Shaw. He's put himself up to 9th from that 16th position. He's been driving like a madman here, possessed 7 positions up. He's got Walter Froman. Craylick gets a little contact from Jonathan Smith. He comes on the racetrack into the 2 of Cochran. It may be a caution here as they're wrecking on the front stretch, but they keep it straight here. This should not be a caution.
Oh man, that is a tough break for the 01 of Aaron Craylick. Just just a little bit of contact, and he tried to save it, but unfortunately with Bristol being such a small track, not a whole lot of places for the other guys to go.
And that really hurt a few drivers for sure, pushed them way down the order. And this track here, you got to worry, 70 laps, yes, not that long around here, but 70 laps, if you're 8 seconds behind the leader already, you're in fear of going a lap down for sure. So if you feel like you need to get going real quick here at this moment if you're falling that far back, that has really shook things up. And You know, Danny Cochran, I talked about him being a big mover. He's up to seventh still after that contact, but man, it's unfortunate for him because now he's got major right front damage. And this track, you would think short track racing, you know, your car doesn't matter. This track here, aero is a very big dependency here around this high bank racetrack.
Oh, aero is very important here, and it's you know, it confuses my brain every time I'm driving something around here because, like you said, it is a short track, and aero typically doesn't matter at short tracks, but you're able to carry so much speed in the corners with this banking that you know, just a little bit of right front damage, a little bit of splitter damage can really affect the balance of the truck, usually pushing it tight, and you know, it's really, it's not a fun time after you get that damage. So all of these guys with that front end damage can't wait until the stage comes around.
And you know, we're seeing different things also happening here. We're looking back at Max Foner. He's right here running behind the 32 Jonathan Smith here. So he takes an attempt on the bottom. You see a lot of guys around here in the mid pack attempting to run this upper lane here. Is I've looked at our top two. They're putting burner laps down, same with third, right around the bottom of this racetrack. They are just ripping the bottom, and we're going to see which one of those is the preferred thing as this run continues on. 27 laps in now. We'll see which one is working the best, but right now our leader's looking to run that bottom lane, Brian.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the high lane, I think, works best early in the run. And so as a driver, you know, it's one of those decisions that you have to make tonight is when do I move to the bottom lane? Because early in the run, the top is just a skosh faster, but it's wearing the tires so bad up there. So for that late wind speed, you're going to have to move to the bottom at some point. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, the question is we hop on Broca Reed. He now likes to run more of the middle lane here. You know, dirty air is going to be tough here tonight, I think, just the way it's looking with the way the bottom is so good. You know, if you can't make that middle and upper groove work later in the run here, it's going to be tough to make passes. I mean, I was been watching Vincent Sorf now and Mark Whitley. I mean, they were flying out front here. But, man, it just seems like you really can't do anything other than run the bottom right now.
Yeah, that is another thing that I don't think we've touched on yet, is that dirty air. And, you know, luckily with Bristol, the way it is, you know, some multi-groove, you have a few more options than you usually do. But yeah, the key is just to not run behind another truck. That's something you don't want to do. That's possibly more abusive on the tires than running the top end.
As we look there, the 5 of Dakota Moniz makes the pass on Cody Dorsey there, pushes him into a top 10 position there in that 5 machine. And Moniz is a driver looking for a good run, and I tell you what, it'd be good to see him to get one here tonight. Is you know, wasn't able to make those playoffs, so it is a tough for him. But at the same time, he's had, you know, bright spots in the seasons, but it just seems like the luck has not been on the side of the 5. We'll see tonight if Bristol Motor Speedway is where he can break through, maybe to get himself a top 5.
Man, I'm watching the leader right now, Mark Whitley, trying to pass Aaron Graylick. Now, he is a teammate to Vincent Sora, and he just made it very difficult for Mark Whitley to pass him. So that's going to help Vincent Sora out quite a bit, about 1/10 and a half. So that's a good break for Vincent there.
Yeah, that really helped him claw back up into it. But here, look at this. Brandon Colley driving up into the mix here. He's up to the 13th spot. He had fell back way back there, but he's 10 seconds behind our leaders. He's got to get going here. Does not want to get trapped in behind this. Cody Dorsey, Thomas Walter, and Max Foner all battling positions. But I tell you what, that one rolling the bottom very nicely right now.
Yeah, I did. I was watching him a little bit in practice, and Brandon Colley, he was one of the more consistent drivers, and one of those drivers running the bottom, and that's something that we're seeing. You know, the guys in the podium positions right now, first, second, and third, they're running the bottom. Colley's running the bottom. And but yeah, you're right, Zach. We're only halfway through this first stage. 10 seconds behind the leader right now does put you in jeopardy at going a lap down before lap 70.
Oh, and look at all this wildness. Joshua Free there in the A machine. He's 1 lap down. He was getting lapped by these lead lap cars of the Ethan Smith 00, the 2 of Danny Cochran, the 11 of John Forbes, the 94 Sean Hofsteller. All those guys try to go around him. That was close there as the 8 almost bounced off the wall. But I tell you, Danny Cochran, got to give him credit in the 2 machines. He's getting pressure from John Forbes in the 11 now. He's got a heavy right front damage, and he's still been able to drive that thing up into the top 5 and 16. He can get that truck worked on, get it, you know, them to iron that out a little better. He could be looking at some great pace here as right now, comparable to the leaders. They're not there, about 3/10 off. But man, Mark Whitley kind of in the class of his own at the moment.
Yeah, which is, you know, I'm a little bit surprised to see, because usually we do see the 77 of Mark Whitley kind of fall off towards the end of the runs, but you know, the past couple of weeks he has been better on the long run, so I think maybe he's found something here in this truck the past few weeks, and he's definitely showing it tonight. As just up ahead of him, we got some lap trucks really racing hard.
Yeah, definitely some trucks racing hard there. Morales Jr. there trying to hold his position, but here comes Whitley trying to get by the 12 of Ferraro. And looks like he's going to try to get done, but Ferraro going to hang on that quarter panel, not let him get clear there that time, but great job by Mark Whitley again, rolling the bottom. And that's one thing is, as a driver here, I personally prefer being able to run the bottom than the outside, especially as the leader when I'm lapping cars. It just feels a lot safer in my opinion.
Oh, it is much safer, because if you know, that lap car, say if he's pushing tight, you'd much rather be on the inside of the truck that's pushing tight than on his outside.
Yeah, that's for sure. Always got to worry about that driver sliding up into his. Man, we're watching Mark Whitley. His truck is just on rails right now, man. He has got the bottom figured out. He's really rolling through it, carrying the momentum and the speed like you need to do. It's impressive stuff here. 47 laps into this run as we're nearing that lap 70 stage very quickly. I mean, it just shows you Bristol. You click off, 15-second laps there, and this race will be over before you know it.
Yeah, he is being held up a little bit by these lap trucks here. I don't think it's going to affect him too much, but he's definitely going to want to look to clear them pretty soon, as they've been 2 by 2, well, not 2 by 2, just side by side for a lap there. So he's able to make his way through a couple of them. Now it's Vincent Sora's turn to get through all these guys.
Well, 3 wide between Thomas Walter, Joshua Freed, and Vincent Sora. That was so close. Freed got up into the wall. Thomas Walter trying to hold on to position there, even though he's a lap down there beside the 15. And man, this is tough business between these guys here as they're racing really hard back here for the lap 50 here. Is Vincent Sora going to clear there? Is Walter, one of the drivers, really falling off here in this run? And man, that's a syndrome that can happen at Bristol. This is a track where, man, when people struggle, it's a huge struggle in the long run.
Oh, it's terrible. It's honestly terrible. You know, you think you're doing pretty good, and then you get to the point where it's like, well, I did kind of burn up my right front a little bit, but hopefully I can make it to the end of this run and it won't be too bad. And then just maybe 5-10 laps later, all of a sudden, you just can't turn it all. You feel extremely slow, and I think that's where a lot of guys are right now. I mean, we've seen, I've been watching the distance between Mark Whitley in first and Vincent Sora in second. The past 10 laps, Vincent has lost a ton of time, so I think Vincent has gotten to that point where he's doesn't have a whole lot of tire left, and same with maybe Jonathan Smith. He's fell through the standings quite a bit, and like you said, Thomas Walter really struggling right now. So the good thing is that we do have that stage coming up, so these guys are going to have another shot with a fresh set of tires, but. It's just, Bristol is one of those weird tracks where it's really tough to know if you're saving tires or not.
It definitely is, Brian. Sometimes you go out there and you just drive it and it works. And then sometimes you can go out there and you can drive and there's nothing you can do to save the tire. It's definitely an interesting track, one that I would say it changes so often with the way the tire wear is around here, and it's a tough racetrack to get around. As we look back here, Danny Cochran, he's still running top 5, 10 seconds behind our leader. Got to give credit to the one machine, though, behind him in 6th now as he's driving his way. Man, he was 17th, 8 seconds behind the leader at one point around lap 20. He's now driven himself up to 6th, only 12 seconds behind the leader, too. So really, through all that phase of racing his way up to 6th from 17th, he only lost about 4 seconds to the leader. When we get that stage caution, if he keeps getting some track position like he's doing here, gaining on Danny Cochran, he could see that one machine possibly contend for possible top positions here too.
Absolutely, but he's let's see, two seconds behind Danny right now, and with 11 laps to go, maybe has enough time to get up there depending on what their pace is. But this is the point in the race now where not a huge deal with this race situation. I think the only guys racing for stage points right now would be maybe third and fourth. But you know, these stage points are going to matter when it comes to the standings. So these guys are going to want to make this stage count.
Yeah, definitely going to want to make those stages count for sure. We've seen before the stage racing, every point counts for sure. Man, our leader, Mark Whitley, he is in heavy traffic as he's getting by Tyler Dingler in the 19 here. We put Tyler a lap down in that 9th spot. I mean, he's lapped all the way up to 9th. Here to lap 70, Moniz is the one trying to get away. Cody Reed's falling backwards too. These two are the ones looking in the mirror saying, oh no, here comes the 77, because he's been 2/10 quicker than anybody on this racetrack each and every lap. As it's just been going very well for him. His battle for 5th heating up too. Danny Cochran, he's got some pressure, and that's Brandon Colley.
Yeah, I think the 2 ran into some issues. Maybe a couple trucks in front of him got into it, and he had to slow down to avoid him or something. But either way, the one of Brandon Colley is right on his bumper, and if Brandon Colley can make that pass in 6 laps, he's going to have himself one stage point.
Yeah, that'll be nice for him. As now we can see leader Mark with he's got by Cody Reed to lap him there. That's 7 drivers now on the lead lap. Here's Moniz. This is going to be your top 6 only on the lead lap once he gets around Moniz. Then it's the fight for the lucky dog. That is going to be the critical phase here, as we're going to be looking to 4 to go when they cross the line next time. Mark Whitley, though, man, he is putting on a torrent pace here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, somebody is going to have to really do some digging to give this guy a challenge for the win tonight, because Mark Whitley is just head and shoulders above everybody else right now, running 1/10, 2/10 quicker at this point in the run.
He is definitely, close stuff between Kralik and the one of Brandon Colley here, is trying to work the bottom lane. The 0-1 there just in front of him now. Looks like Brandon Colley's going to have to take the outside lane. And man, teammates there, that was definitely a little bit of help there from Alan Kralik. But man, Brandon Colley, I know him, he's going to definitely be fired up by that, trying to get by the 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was a good team play on Aaron Kralik's part, but Brandon Colley definitely not too happy right now. But he's still got a shot. He's got a lap to try to make this happen, and he's going to give it all he's got.
That it is. This is for 1 point, but got to remember that it's early in the playoffs. He's in a good spot. No reason to risk too much. As Mark Whitley rounds out a 4, it's going to be the green and white checker flag here for stage number 1 here at the Bristol Thunder 150. And there he goes for it. He's going to the inside, sticks him behind the 9. They're going to come off the turn 4, and it's going to be who's the line. I think Danny Cochran might have held on to that. Yes, he did by 0.04 of a second. What a awesome finish there for that stage.
Man, that was if that is a precursor to what we might see at the end, I can't wait.
I cannot wait, that is for sure, Brian. As these drivers into stage number 1, we're going to head to commercial break number 1 here tonight, as these drivers look to hit pit road and get their cars all fueled up. We'll be back in a few moments. we are back here at the NAISCC Truck Series brought to you by Race Car Graveyard as we're getting ready to go green flag racing. Make sure you check out Race Car Graveyard at Race Car Graveyard on Instagram. As the pace truck pulls in, we're going to go back to it after stage one. Mark Whitley dominant. He's back out front as the green flag waves. Vincent Sawyer here up to second. Brandon Collie, a new contender up in the War Machine. He's up to third. Let's see what these drivers can do. A lot of guys here, Brian, a lap down after that stage.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see if, yeah.
Looks like the 25 and Cody Reed around multiple playoff contenders involved in. They're continuing the wreck on the front straightaway, and oh man, just nobody stopped in there, and some of those collisions definitely could have been avoided, and we're going to see how that all played out for sure to bring out this caution. And definitely some drivers happy they may be getting a lap back, but Cody Reed in the 25 definitely the driver where it all started around there in 3 and 4. Looks like he collected also the it looks like the 94 Sean Huffsteller. There's the 47 John McAdam, the 12 Orion Ferraro. Multiple drivers involved in this. As we go back to the Freaky Fast instant replay, as we're looking at the 11 here, John Forbes rolling the bottom here of the corner, and tough conditions for these drivers out here tonight after that stage break to really cause a major incident. It's involved a few playoff drivers that now have major damage in this track. I mean, we've seen Cochran do well with the damage, but man, it's still a very tough scenario for these drivers out here, Brian.
Yeah, well, and it's funny, right before that caution came out, I was just about to say, if I was one of those lap trucks, I may have gambled and said, look, I'm going to stay out at this stage and get my lap back right now, and I'm going to bank on a caution coming out right away. And unfortunately, I don't think anybody tried that, and the caution did come out. So, you know, that is kind of a strategy you could try to make work, but it's definitely, you know, it's one of those deals where you put all your eggs in one basket.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gregory Shaw, he's a happy driver. He's gotten his lap back from being the lucky dog. And, you know, I'm not sure, Brian, did Jesse Thornick pull that strategy of taking the wave and then caught the wave here, that caution, and now I think he might be back on the lead lap due to that?
That is a good question, and I'm going to find that out here shortly.
Yeah, that I would believe that's how he got back on the lead lap, because I'm pretty sure he went a lap down. But yeah,
that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, well, then that's a great call by him. I mean, man, that's like you said, that's something that some people could have played, but that's a big risk. If it goes green there, you're on those old tires, you're going to lap down in 10 laps.
Oh, it's a huge risk, and I think if I remember it, I tried that once, and it did not work out that well for me.
It, you know, the thing about this racetrack, I think people need to consider the fact is it's a 15-second lap. When you're a second faster than someone, it only takes 15 laps to get to that person. Due to a normal track, you know, that would be a whole nother 30 laps to get there. So it's just the fact of you can make up time here so quickly on those newer tires. That new tires are so critical in these phases. I'm not surprised that the rest of our field has stayed out here too to keep the rest of the field from taking the wave. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting, you know, strategy gamble that people can play. But now that the people that pitted, they've made their bed, they're definitely kicking themselves now. But again, like I said, if they would have got the caution, they would have been in a terrible spot.
It does look like, unfortunately, Tyler Dingler did, oh wait, no, never mind. I've been confused. We're about to go green here shortly. Vincent on the outside. Maybe all he needs is just a little bit of a better jump than he's been getting. You know, Mark Whitley does have that massive advantage being the leader, but if Vincent can time this just right, he might be able to hang on the outside of Mark Whitley going into one.
That is definitely the case here. We'll see if the 15 can hang on the quarter panel as we've got the pace truck in. Green flag back out in the air. And Whitley, good start, but even better for Soares. He's able to actually hang there this time, but Whitley going to clear there quickly, and that's what he needs. Vincent Soares, if he can do a little bit better, like you said, Brian, he could be on the door there, and we've seen that's how he took the lead from our pole starter, Vincent Soares, early in the race.
I mean, all he's got to do is he needs, you know, that extra foot. If he can get that extra foot and stay on to the outside of Mark Whitley, he can battle for that lead. And you know, we may be underestimating the power of dirty air. You know, we've only seen Mark Whitley up front, and we've seen how fast he can be. but maybe that's partially due to the clean air up there.
That's very, that's a great minds think alike. As the caution is out on the racing surface again here, and we'll see who has brought this out here. Looks like 01 Aaron Kralik around the 32. Jonathan Smith involved also, as it gets from bad to worse for Aaron Kralik there, as he actually, gets into the 32 and takes him and the 47 John McAdams out also. So multiple drivers involved here in that incident. As we'll go back here on the Freaky Fast instant replay and see. Here's Kralik. He's directly behind the 32 of Jonathan Smith. Going to get into the rear bumper here in the next few seconds. And whoa, there it is. And 32 is Jonathan Smith tries to hang on it. It bounces Kralik down the racetrack. The 47 McAdams there. And now Kralik coming back up the racing surface. Looks like everybody did a pretty good job of missing the 01.
Yeah, it's just one of those deals where the 01, he's ready to go. He got just a little bit better of a run coming out and just barely nicked the rear end there of the 32, and Havoc breaks loose there. But yeah, just again, it's just that small mistake. If he's, half a second more patient on the throttle, that doesn't happen, and that truck doesn't get more damage, and again, just one of those patience deals, one of those small mistakes that can have big dividends at the end of this race.
And I tell you what, looking here at the flags from the officials here, Aaron Kralik has a required repair flag, the good old iRacing meatball flag, as they call it, and he is not brought down pit road. I wonder if he has a faster spare still. If not, he's going to have required repairs, because iRacing is showing him that flag there, saying you have to get that truck repaired. I think he'll be coming down this time. So yeah, tough break for Aaron Kralik here. Bad start to Bristol, and it's so tough. You got Bristol here tonight, Brian. Then you got the Daytona Road Course, and I know a few guys are definitely probably happy about the Daytona Road Course, but I tell you, 90% of the guys are dreading that place. So two places like this to start the playoffs, I mean, I would say yourself, how would you feel going into it? But you're a great road course stock car racer. But if you were not in those shoes, some of the drivers that that's a place where they feel like maybe it could be a bad night for them. How important do you think Bristol is feeling to them right now?
Well, Bristol is one of those tracks where one mistake usually leads to two mistakes, which usually leads to three, so it compounds really, really quickly. So Bristol's one of those things where it's going good, it's going great. When it's going bad, it's going terrible. So if you're one of the guys that can manage to stay out of trouble, then you're okay with Bristol. But if you're one of those guys like Aaron right here, who is struggling, you just want this race to be over with. And when it comes to the road courses, a lot of guys, I think, just again, just want to survive, just want to be able to stay on the track. So there's two ways to go about looking at the beginning of these playoffs. Is, man, I'm really dreading this, and I can't wait until we get out of these two races. Or the other way to look at it is, hey, I know the majority of the guys are going to be dreading these two races, so I'm going to try to make the most of it.
It is going to be fun to watch who can make the most of these 2 weeks. Bristol and the Daytona Road Course. They'll break it down to 8 drivers. Then we go to Talladega, Michigan, and then we crown a champion at Atlanta with our final 4. Green flag is back out in the air. We're off and away. Great jump by Mark Whitley again. Can Brandon Colley use this to his advantage? He rolls up alongside the 15. The 15 going to have the good launch off, but Brandon Colley, good solid launch for himself. He's going to keep alongside. How long can Vincent sort of hold him off on the bottom? We'll have to see. I think that outside lane, though, again, early in the go and critical to take off. And now, man, the 15 really shot out of cannon off of 4.
Yeah, the Brent Colley, one of the better drivers there on the bottom, and I think was able to make it stick down there pretty good. But that top lane, you just can't beat it in the first 5 laps. But he's not fading off. These top 3 right on top of each other right now. As we got the Ethan Smith 00 behind them. Got Danny Cochran up in the top 5, and Dakota Moniz in 6 right behind him.
Yeah, Moniz really having a great race, and but with Moniz being such a big Kyle Larson fan, it kind of makes sense for him to run good here at Bristol. It's definitely something I'm sure he enjoys doing, just running around this track, and he's having a good run of it here tonight, up to that 6th position, and he could be one of the underdogs here, breaking through in these playoffs. That isn't a playoff contender, breaking through and carrying some momentum possibly into another season.
I would not doubt it, because from what I've seen out of Dakota is that he's very consistent. He, has the pace to run where he's running right now, but unfortunately, just it seems like in the early stages of the race, he gets caught up in something and then has to drive the whole race with a damaged truck. So it's good to see him up here. Hopefully, I didn't give the broadcast purse on him, because then I'd feel terrible. But good to see him in 6th.
Oh, man, up ahead of him, Danny Cochran in the 2. He jumps to the outside of the 00 Ethan Smith. And, man, he put a power move, just drove to the outside quarter panel, made it work and made it last. And what a move from him. I was surprised no one up here up front. Like, I've seen Sora be very close to Whitley on entry a few times and just not driving it a little deeper to the outside quarter panel and force that driver down. But, maybe it's something they're worried about those tires and everybody's just electing to keep it right there on the bottom. It's definitely interesting feat to see us run around the bottom of this track here, because a few years ago you would have been crazy to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bristol for the longest time. It's been up top. It's been slide job city, and this is a little bit of a change of pace. And but yeah, I mean Danny Cochran made that move look really easy, and he's going to set his sights on Brandon Colley in 3rd place, who is still right on the bumper of Vincent Sora. Top 3, I wouldn't be surprised to see Vincent maybe stick a little bit better with Mark Whitley here in this last part of the race here. Maybe hopefully he's learned something from the first stage. I think a lot of these guys have learned something from that first one there, and you may see some guys maybe move up through the field here.
Yeah, I think we definitely could see some big moves. But look at this battle here. It's Gregory Shaw, John Forbes. Shaw was able to get back onto the lead lap with the luck of that lucky dog. And right now, Forbes trying to hold him off. And Shaw was the driver who kind of fell off into the oblivion with the older tires. So here he's definitely hoping he can hold on for this longer run here, as it's clicking laps by each other. But man, one little incident could bring out that yellow flag at any moment. Huffsteller to 94. He's the first car a lap down. That's the crazy battle, because he's got Tyler Dingler, Ryan Ferraro trying to get up towards him to battle for that lucky dog position. Because if the caution comes out right now, Huffsteller would be in position as long as he's not involved in the yellow.
Yeah, most definitely that lucky dog position, a prized possession, as we're coming to the end of the race here. We have about 45 laps left, and that may seem like a lot of time, but it really is not, with these laps being 15 seconds long. And Mark Whitley's starting to stretch his legs.
Whitley, we've seen it so far tonight. He's been the class of the field, and what a way to start off the playoffs with some momentum. He's definitely a favorite going into this. He's that second place seed entering here tonight, 11 points back from Vincent Sora, who's been able to set on pole and hold second all night to Mark Whitley. But those two definitely coming in as probably the top 2 favorites in that championship standings. And then you got some heavy hitters behind them too. Brandon Colley, who's been on work his way from 17th to 3rd. Danny Cochran 16th to 4th. Dakota Moniz, he's broke his way to the top 5, and he's not letting Cochran get away. Moniz might be able to break himself up into the top 4, maybe even a top 3 here tonight. This is good runs all around, but for a non-playoff contender, Moniz to be having this great run here in the playoffs, this is a good sign for him next season.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to see right on the bumper of Danny Cochran. These two guys running roughly the same lap times there as Danny Cochran, just a little bit of a slip up on turn 4. But, those two guys are a little bit quicker than Brandon Colley right now.
Yeah, it looks like they are starting to run him down a little bit. What I'm interested in, Brian, we haven't seen too many guys up in the top 3 elect to run anything other than right on that bottom lane. We watched Moniz. He ran right up to the back bumper of the 2 of Danny Cochran, and he almost made it work. We're going to pop up here on our ticker, the 6 hours of Daytona for Diabetes here, brought to you by Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're raising money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation there on January 7th of 2022, starting off the new year right here for our first annual charity race. And man, if you want to be a part of that race, make sure you head down to the description. There is the event details there. And inside that document, you're going to find lots of information, including the signups to be able to sign yourself up for this race. The signups are, I tell you what, they're closing in quickly because we're seeing a lot of people and a lot of interest from a lot of drivers out there and a lot of teams, which we got to thank them for. But if you're looking to get in there, make sure you do it quickly, as you don't want to be left out of this great first-time event here for Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So it's going to be a wonderful time, and also a great time. Let's give a shout out to ButtKicker. There's been an amazing sponsor we've had here for so long in Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As we always say, ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. Head on over to their website. You can use our promo code FreakyFast20 to get 20% off of any purchase there. Get yourself a game or two with one of their top-of-the-line products for simulations such as iRacing or many other products that I'm sure would be helpful to all different things such as movies, FPS. I mean, it goes out the list. So make sure you use that discount code if you're looking to get yourself a ButtKicker so you can feel what you've been missing. But man, Brian, like I said, the racing action is just clicking away here, man. It's I'm nearing that 30 to go point, and 30 laps here, you can happen so fast. I mean, 4 laps happen in a minute.
Absolutely, yeah. This race is going to be over before we know it if it continues to go green. And, that's very unfortunate for Benson Sawyer right now. Right now he's trying to get around this lap truck here. But, look, if I'm him, I've been sticking to the bottom most of this race, and I've seen Mark Whitley get smaller and smaller and smaller in front of me. So right now I'd be trying to find anything. Trying these off-the-wall lines, doing weird things with the throttle and the brake, and, try something to maybe gain some time on Mark Whitley, because right now he's losing massive amounts of time every lap.
Well, Brian, I've been thinking about this. We might need to send Vincent Sora over to Advanced Sim Racing, because the battle is ensuing back here. We definitely want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors here, Advanced Sim Racing. They're bringing the fastest growing North American racing simulator chassis and manufacturer in that equipment retailer. Make sure you head on over to Advanced Sim Racing, where you can use our discount code of FreakyFast5 to get off 5% off of all Advanced Sim Racing branded products. And man, they got so much stuff from all different types of brands there and different types of sim racing equipment. And maybe that's what Vince Sawyer is going to have to be looking into, because Mark Whitley, he's brought a clean piece this week, and he has just been able to dominate this race so far. But I tell you, at any moment we see a little thing called a yellow flag, this race gets thrown upside down, and that's where push comes to shove.
Absolutely, and I think because we had that first green flag run early in the race, I think a lot of guys were racing at the beginning of this run like, they were anticipating a long green flag run. Well, if a caution comes out now, these guys are racing for the short run. So we will see some guys do things that we haven't seen yet. We'll see some guys make passes that we haven't seen yet, as Mark Whitley trying to deal with this lap traffic right now that's side by side in front of him. I think everybody but Mark Whitley wants to see a caution come out right now.
That is for sure. He is saying, no, sir, not today, for sure. Oh, Cody Reed up into the wall in the 25, up in front of John Forbes. Danny Cochran is Forbes. Is Cochran a little bump down into 3. We're going to see side by side here for that 4 spot. Forbes sitting on the bottom, sliding the rears, really having to hold on to that 11. He's been definitely an X factor throughout the whole entire season. It's going to be fun to see if he can pull off a win here in these playoffs, man, but he is fighting strong now.
Yeah, like what Danny's doing, the 11 is putting the attack on him, trying to pass him. Danny was running kind of that mid-lower line, but as that 11's gotten closer, he's running that high line. That's the defensive line here. You can't get a better run off the corner than up top. So we're going to see him up top again, and we're going to see him clear that 11 if he manages to keep it off the wall, which he does. And the 11 just can't do anything. You can't slide up. You can't, the only thing you can do is get out of it and try again.
And so we got another driver coming up into the valley. He's got by Dakota Moniz to take the 6th position. That's Ethan Smith in a 00. He's drove himself up into position. Our winner from the Milwaukee Mile here earlier this season. And, the Milwaukee Mile, the Nashville Super Speedway. He was our winner, so a great job by him there as he was able to pull that one off, man. But right now, it's definitely been interesting scenarios there. It's all side by side there, man. The 00 is really starting to make up the gap. So right now from 4th to 7th, it's about a second separating those those 4 drivers.
Yeah, it is. Then, 4th, 5th, and 6th right here. Danny Cochran, John Forbes, Ethan Smith. These 3 guys are playoff drivers, so these points matter right here. You never know when that 1 point might count for you or count against you, so you're going to want to try your best to pass the guy in front of you or 2 guys in front of you. You hate to come up a point short and wish, man, back at Bristol, I wish I tried just a little bit harder.
At one point, it could be the factor to getting into the top 8 here to carry yourself into the next round of the playoffs. Forbes battling strong with our number 3 seed entering tonight. It's a titanic battle for sure as the 11 and the 2 and the 00. He's just going to try to follow through. Maybe he'll try to stick his nose in there. You never know as it's closing down the laps. Not many to go. Even our second place battle is getting closer between those drivers. It's been a lot of battling going on the racetrack, but Mark Whitley dominant is, man, Forbes still holds position. Cochran now going to take the top side, and that's going to get Ethan Smith the bottom. Cochran here just trying to hold on, but he's going to be falling back.
Yeah, I think unfortunately Cochran trying to hold off that 11 just overheated that right front a little bit, started pushing, not able to carry as much momentum out of the corner on that high side, and you saw the 11 get around him, which opened the door for the 00, and unfortunately for Danny Cochran, going to slip back to 6th place, but still 6th, a really good points day.
Here is Dakota Manise. He was flirting for a top 4 position at one point. Now Loveland, he's driven himself up here trying to take 7th from him. This is a playoff battle here as Loveland needs those points. Moniz's not in the playoffs, so it's not as big a factor. Loveland, though, fight strong here as he came near that cut line entering the night. 10 to go. He's trying to get as many points as possible here.
Something to keep an eye on right here. Brandon Colley not too far behind Vincent Sora, so maybe Colley in the last 10 laps here, is he going to be able to get up to 2nd place and battle for that position?
Yeah, it seemed like he was able to close the gap just a little bit on Vincent Sora, but now the last few laps he had a little mistake and he dropped back, and now the last few laps have been pretty much matching times with 8 to go. There's still time to go for him to be able to get there, but man, it's going to be a tough one at this point to see if he can get there. As Mark Whitley, he's driven into a different zip code right now, and he's starting to get back into lap traffic. If I'm Mark Whitley, this is dangerous times here with 7 to go, and it's definitely got to be stressing out because, man, he's had a clean Bristol race up to this point, and you don't say that many times as here comes Christopher Norris closing the door on the leader.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's being patient, being careful, and he does get through those trucks there. But definitely not the situation you want to be in because you can't hang behind him because you risk the 2nd and 3rd catching you. So you got to get around him. Just got to be as safe as possible as Jonathan Smith was just a little bit in the way of Vincent Sora, which allowed Colley to really close that gap there. Only half a second. 4/10 now behind 2nd place.
Oh, 5 to go. We're seeing it here. Mark Whitley making his way through traffic. 2nd place starting to get a little bit closer. I think that dirty air, though, is just hindering Brandon Colley. He gets within that 4 truck length gaps, and it just does not close down here. Still, nonetheless, a valiant effort for him today. 17th to 3rd. I'm sure not the greatest qualifying spot, but he'll take 3rd with a smile on the number 1's face as we're 3 to go. Mark Whitley, he's getting by Gregory Shaw now to put him a lap down and be the top 8 now just on the lead lap. I mean, what a performance, Brian. You couldn't ask for a better start to the playoffs if you're this driver.
Oh, no, absolutely not. To come out here, first race of the playoffs, and absolutely dominate this race, and in all likelihood going to win this race as we're coming up on the last lap.
And there it is. That's the white flag brought to you by Cosmic Candles. It's your Cosmic Candle white flag as we got 1 to go around Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a half mile, the world's fastest half mile. And I'll tell you who's been the fastest. It's been the 77 of Mark Whitley. He rounds through 3 and 4 and gets another victory here at the NAISCC Truck Series. What a way to do it here in playoff race number 1. Guess what? He's moving on to the round of 8 with this win. As Vincent Sora's going to bring up 2nd, Brandon Colley 3rd, John Forbes 4th, and Ethan Smith going to round out your top 5. Is, man, tough nights for a few guys in the playoffs, but a great start for a few others.
Yeah, that was man, a classic Bristol race. Had a few incidents, but nice to see some long green flag runs.
Always definitely nice to see those green flag runs happen. Is Whitley going to celebrate on the front straightaway? I'm sure he's got to be feeling a sigh of relief as it's been a perfection race from him. Took the lead from the start, was never able to give it up from there. It's just been one of those nights for the 77 as he burns it down on the front straightaway and celebrates. We'll be right back as we find those top three drivers here and have a chat with them as we go to post racing reviews. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here, everybody. Here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting it's been a wild Bristol Thunder 150 here, brought to you by Larry's Art Productions. It's been a rough and tumble race here. Is it went by so quickly here tonight, but we're gonna bring up our top three finishers, and our first one up is the number 3 of Brandon Colley, and he's gonna have a chat with me and Brian Johnson up here in the booth. Hey, Brandon, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
I got you.
Well, man, what a drive here tonight, man. 17th, the third. I'm sure that's not the ideal qualifying spot for yourself, but man, a hard fought battle there, even getting caught up in a few incidents there. But man, you definitely got to come out of the first playoff race. Well, I think a smile knowing you survived Bristol starting that far back.
Yeah, it just sucks. Track's too cold to put in a good lap in qualifying. Didn't think it was going to be that bad, and ended up starting back there. Too much damage. The initial wreck with the 47. Loveland took most of it, but hurt me a bit. And I think Aaron getting turned, not bringing out a caution, I about had to come to a stop. Gave up I don't know how many positions, and I had to drive all the way back through. Caught some more damage, and wasn't really a good race. I felt like I had a lot better pace than I was able to put on. Maybe if I hadn't had that damage, it'd have been better. But third could have been worse.
Hey, Brandon, it's Brian in the booth. And as the driver that did pass the most trucks tonight, I feel like you're the best driver to ask this question to. At Bristol, half mile tracks, we don't usually think about dirty air, but Bristol definitely is an outlier. What did the dirty air feel like to you tonight, and what was the best way that you were able to avoid that?
It's not as bad as it normally is, but especially on the older tires, trying to run the bottom. If somebody's in the way, you definitely feel it on the exit. Uh, the only thing I can think that would really overcome it substantially is just having better tires. If you were able to take care of your tires pretty well, just maybe taking a wider entry and trying to carry more speed on the exit, just setting up that move to the inside in the next set of corners, probably the best way to do it. Seemed to work out pretty well for me tonight.
That it did, Brandon. It was able to work out for sure very well to get yourself up to a third position, man. But before we let you get out here, as always, anybody want to send a shout out to you, my friend?
Uh, Thanks to you guys, Freaky Fast Broadcast, and putting on amazing broadcasts. Surprisingly, this was one of the cleaner Bristol races I've been a part of, so it wasn't too long for you guys tonight. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope everybody watching enjoyed it. I got to thank my teammates, Category 5 Esports, Zach Hall, Brian Johnson, Cedric Hunter, Larry Yingling, and our couple newest additions in the works here. We'll let some people know in the future, but and the guys at the league. This was a lot cleaner than I think anybody anticipated it was going to be. Had a couple cautions, a little tempers here and there, but overall, probably one of the better Bristol races that I've been a part of. So got to thank them too.
Well, Brandon, man, we thank you very much for everything you guys do out on the racetrack. Congrats on third, and we will catch you next week at Daytona Road Course. Or 2
Sounds
weeks.
Yeah, I'll have a good one.
All right, everybody. That was your third place driver, Brandon Cowley, as he was able to bring home at third place finish after his victory last week at the Richmond Raceway. Now we're going to bring up our second place driver, the leader of the championship point stands here in the night, is the 15 of Vincent Sora. Hey, Vincent, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Well, I tell you what, it's somewhat of a a very interesting Bristol race here with not many cautions to really throw out the whack, man. But I tell you qualified on pole. Unfortunately, lost the lead early in the go in there. Was never able to reclaim it. But again, a solid start to the playoffs here for you coming in here with the championship lead. Can you take second here at Bristol and be definitely happy about it?
Yeah, it just kind of like last week. I just really struggled on the long run to have any right front grip. It just seemed like I burned it up too much. I don't know what I'm doing wrong and don't really know how to fix that, but it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to work on. But yeah, I mean, I can be happy with second. Obviously, I knew first round was probably just going to be as long as I finish races and don't finish like last, it would be a pretty easy move on. So yeah, hopefully I can go win Daytona Road.
Hey, Vincent, it's Brian up here in the booth. Later in the race, we saw Mark Whitley really kind of extend that lead, and you were in second place. And uh, we've seen you all night around the bottom, and I was just wondering if, did you ever think about trying different lines, trying to find some more grip, or did you feel like that would put you in jeopardy of losing second place to Brandon Colley there at the end?
Yeah, I saw Brandon coming and knew that I probably should just stick the bottom, but I was thinking, if I can kind of stay within about 3 or 4 tenths of mark here towards the end of the race, I'll move up towards the top and, maybe see if I can get some of those good runs down the short straightaways here at Bristol, and maybe try to get to his outside or get enough run where I can maybe cross him over and go to his inside. But unfortunately, he just gapped, and I knew the right front was probably going to hurt my tires a little bit more up there, so I didn't want to try it early, and I just kind of had to be patient and wait to see if I really needed to use it. And I just never really got the opportunity to do anything to Mark, and Brandon didn't really get close enough to me to where I had to defend against him. So yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a one-lane track tonight.
Definitely a tough night, but a good result for you nonetheless. Here, Vincent is seconds going to do it here for the Bristol Motor Speedway for you tonight, man. But before I let you get out here, as always, anybody want to send a shout to?
Yeah, for sure. You guys for a great broadcast. Danny Cochran for the beautiful paint scheme. All the drivers in the league, and McConey Setup Shop.
Well, thank you to Vincent Sora there for a great drive tonight. Able to bring home second. We'll catch you next week or 2 weeks at Daytona Road Course, buddy.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, that was Vincent Sora, their second place finisher here tonight, your championship points leader. But let's move on now. The guy who just, I mean, he was in a different zip code tonight. Just a dominant performance, and one that just I gotta say I haven't seen a clean Bristol race as many as he just had here tonight. So let's hear from our winner here tonight of the Bristol Thunder 150, presented by Larry's Art Productions. That's Mark Whitley. Mark, it's Zach up into with you. Got a copy, buddy?
Gotcha.
Well, man, I tell you what, I was just saying before I brought you in here, I don't think I've seen a clean as dominant performance here at Bristol from somebody in a while as what you were able to pull off here tonight, my friend. Just overall Ryder started for that second position. He was able to get the lead early and able to hold on, man. I mean, you know, you gotta take me through the race. I'm sure you felt like at some point something was going to go wrong. We always see a Bristol the leader at some point encounter something that pushes them back. But tonight it was smooth sailing. Had some moments with getting by lap cars, but man, other than that, it was as clean a Bristol race as I think you possibly could ask for.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's a scratch on that car, and that's amazing running 150 laps at Bristol. But yeah, we were the fastest in practice, and I went a little bit easy in qualifying because I didn't want to spin out because I was pushing it real hard in practice trying to get down in the fives, and I think I was overly cautious and wound up only second, and I knew I had to get in front of Vincent because I figured it'd be hard to pass him, so got a good jump on the initial start and was able to kind of get in the middle and kind of hold him down a little bit, and then I just drove it for all it's worth into three and was able to clear him, and then the caution came out, and after that it was just about setting my own pace. And ever since they've updated Bristol, a few months ago, and they've made it where the bottom can be run, it's just something about it. It's this the truck, the Cup car, the next gen car. It's just something about it when they put the bottom back in. It's clicked with me, and especially tonight. I mean, car felt great the entire run. Normally I struggle in a long run, but the car felt so good. Turning through the center, I was able to get back to the gas, and it just felt good all around. And it was kind of surreal the whole race. I mean, I just kind of felt like I was in a good mood, good space, and I wasn't never really worried, even with lap traffic. It just kind of I was able to just kind of cut through there. Got a little dicey at one point toward the end of the race, but got by them without much of an issue. And then honestly, I wasn't even worried if a caution came out there at the end because I was just going to get tires, and I figured I was the fastest on the short run, medium run, long run. So I was just kind of, I was just kind of going. Most of the time, I'm sweating bullets trying to make sure the caution don't come out, but I was relaxed and it was kind of euphoric. It was just kind of weird because it's probably the best race car I've ever had anywhere. So it just felt so good the whole run, and I don't understand what's different, but I kind of wish this was a championship race because this thing felt like it was on rails, and I was just sitting behind driving it. I mean, it was that easy to drive, that fun to drive.
Hey, Marcus, Brian in the booth. Last week saw great speed out of you. Tonight, dominant speed. And you kind of brushed on it a little bit, but what is it about these trucks at short tracks that you have figured out that it seems like nobody else has been able to figure out yet?
I honestly, I mean, if I knew, I'd tell you right now, but I have literally no clue. It's just something about how these trucks handle on short tracks, and it just fits my driving style. That's but the only way I can explain it. I mean, I go into a practice, not even practicing any, just go in there, run 2 laps, fast time, like just automatically, just like as soon as I get in the track, and it's just I try to practice more to see if I can get more consistent, but it's just like I just start off and it's just like right there on the money. I mean, especially I spent half a practice trying to see if I could beat my time, but I don't think the truck could have run a faster time even if it had an AI running it because it was just up against the limit of the grip. But I I wish I could tell you. I have no idea. I'm just enjoying it while it lasts because as much as iRacing changes it, next week they'll make some update to the truck and I'll be back to 15th, struggling on the long run, but I'm just enjoying it the way it is right now.
Yeah, definitely been a dominant performance from yourself, Mark. You're able to get the win here tonight at Bristol. Lock yourself into that round of 8. So 2 weeks now at Daytona Road Course, you can go out there, have yourself a nice little race, and not have too much to worry about there from that standpoint. And then those you can also get some good practice for that Talladega and Michigan race there in the next round, man. But congrats on the win, Mark. Dominant performance, one of the best I've seen from Bristol, man. Before we let you get out, as always, though, who you gonna send your shout outs to?
All right, first and foremost, I got to give a big shout out Brantley Harpoon Designs. I finally got this beautiful Christmas scheme in Victory Lane. I've run it for 2 weeks and got wrecked and finished fourth twice and third, and finally put this thing in Victory Lane. So this is for you, Brantley. I know you're out there watching. Try to finally put it in Victory Lane for you. Check him out, harpoondesign.com. He's got a bunch on trade and paint. He's an awesome painter. He never misses. And big shout out to my family, always tuning in, support group. Then for y'all putting on a great broadcast. This should be fun to go back and watch just to see all the battles throughout the field. Y'all top notch, always A++, best broadcast on iRacing, hands down. And big shout out to the league. I mean, we had a couple quick cautions there, but we were in the majority of this race green flag, and that is saying monuments compared to what we've had earlier in the season with the amount of cautions we had. So it's great improvement and great all around. We had some incidents throughout the field, but I mean, it's Bristol. I mean, it's going to happen. So But all in all, it was just a great from the whole league.
And it was, Mark, man. Thank you for the kind words, buddy. As always, congrats on the victory, and we will catch you in 2 weeks at the Daytona Road Course, man.
All right, sounds good. I might come to you for some advice on that one.
All right, buddy. I'll be there for you.
All right, later, guys.
Later, man. All right, everybody. That was your race winner, Mark Whitley, there, able to get the race victory here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And man, what a drive it was from him! Is just dominating performance, Brian. You can't sum it up much other than that. Is we're going to bring up our race results and see where our favorite drivers finished out the night. As Mark Whitley brings home that race victory, it's going to be Vincent Sawyer, championship points leader here tonight. In second, third, it's going to be Brandon Colley, a drive from him for 17th to third. John Forbes is going to bring home another solid top 5 in the 11. Fifth is going to go to Ethan Smith to round out that top 5. Sixth is going to be Danny Cochran. Seventh is going to go to James Loveland. Eighth is Dakota Moniz, a great top 10 for him. Ninth is going to be Gregory Shaw, the first car lap down. And rounding out that freaky fast top 10 is Sean Huffsteller back in 10th, one of our playoff contenders. And man, looking throughout the rest of the field, definitely some playoff contenders involved in it tonight. Back there, 18th, Christopher Norris. 19th, Cody Reed. 20th, Martin Morales. 21st, Aaron Kralik. I mean, right there, looking at that group, major instances for them tonight. That's going to push them back in the points. We'll see how it all shakes up for 2 weeks. I love to say next week, but in 2 weeks at the Daytona Road Course, where it's going to be fun to watch them go. A little bit of left and right action is, even that'll be interesting. You got the Daytona Road Course after our 6-hour event too, so it'll be some Daytona Road Course weekend, I guess, for us there here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So be some fun stuff. But Brian, before we get out of here tonight and pack it all up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, it's been a burner of a broadcast, I must say, too. For 150 laps at Bristol, that might be a record for how fast we've done this thing. Brian, any closing thoughts, though, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, other than Mark Whitley, tremendous performance. You couldn't ask for a better race from him, and a couple good green flag runs at Bristol is a nice, a bit of a refreshing pace as from what we usually see here. So I don't think we could leave here unhappy.
That we could not. Bristol has definitely impressed us here tonight, especially with the drive of the drivers. I got to give credit. Congrats to Mark Whitley on the dominating performance. I mean, you don't see many Bristol wins like that, how he just did it. That's super impressive from him in that 77. But I got to give a shout to all the drivers out there. We've seen incidents beating and banging all around the racetrack, but they were able to keep it straight, keep it green. And that's the racing that we love to see here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting at the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile. It's definitely went by in a blink of an eye as the Bristol Thunder 150, brought to you by Larry Arts Productions, has been a fabulous time for us here up in the booth. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, I'm Zach Hall and Brian Johnson alongside me. We're going to send it up to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast here at Freaky Fast.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Zach. Well, thank you, drivers, giving us a great race here at Bristol. I'm kind of shocked. This was actually a really clean race that we seen out here tonight. Congratulations to Mark Whitley, Vincent Sawyer, and Brandon Colley. All three of them are in the playoffs. And, we're going to talk about a little bit about the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first round. We started into the playoffs here with the NAISCC Truck Series here on Monday night. So things are just going to start heating up. It's going to get to the point where we're going to have some drivers that are in the playoffs, good runs or bad runs. They're going to be battling to try to make it into the next round if they can't get a win. So it's going to get heated up, ladies and gentlemen. And so, make sure you tune in for that because I can't wait for the next couple weeks. Other than that, I want to say thank you to Larry Arts Production for sponsoring this, race here at Bristol. Make sure you go out and in your YouTube up in the search and just type in Larry Arts, ATR with an S. And you'll be able to find him and check out his videos because I went and checked them out, guys, and pretty cool stuff that he got going on over there. So thank you to him again. But our next televised broadcast will be Wednesday night, season opener, the Clash at Rockingham with the underdog Racing League at 8:30. So if you're not busy Wednesday night and you're on your 2 weeks vacation for the holidays, make sure you drop in and give us a hi, and give us a like and share on YouTube side of things on Wednesday night. We do much appreciate that. And then on Thursday night, we're going to be with the Stars and Stripes as they got their season rolling here as they go into week number 3. But with that also being said, ladies and gentlemen, here from Freaky Fast Broadcasting and all the crew members here, we'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays. We will not see you back until 2022. So we will be off next week, and but we'll catch you, like Zach said, next year. So again, from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, happy holidays to everybody. Make sure you enjoy the time with the friends and family, and hopefully you get the gift that you want. And maybe it'd be a sim rig or something. That'd be really cool, or some kind of racing part. Brian Johnson got spoiled from, I heard Santa Claus showed up at his house early, and I'm kind of jealous because he didn't show up at my house yet. But with that being said, hopefully everybody has a great rest of their Monday night. We will catch you Wednesday. But until then, from here from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we like to say God bless everybody. Love yous all.